All right, happy Sunday, everybody. Super Bowl Sunday. Personally, I'm going to go with the GOAT, Tom Brady, this weekend. Should be a good game, though. So this is the Sunday prep video. I want to give you all a little bit of some insight into what I got for open positions, as well as what I'm going to be focusing on for the week to come. So with all my open positions right now, which is a combination of credit spreads on NVIDIA, Amazon, Tesla, PLTR, BLNK, a few others here, max potential profit, if I get 80% of the max profit from each of those credit spreads, is about $40,000. So with that being said, as I'm coming into this week here and throughout the remainder of February, I'm not looking so much for more opportunity. Rather, the focus is managing the open positions. Now, I think, and I briefly mentioned this in the Friday video, but as we head into the week here, the market isn't quite extended just yet. And to me, extended is when we're 2 ATRs above the 21 EMA. When that Keltner channel here, the purple line, that's what's that measuring, is 2 ATRs away from the 21. So while we're not quite there yet, we are starting to get close. And if we just look at this recent uptrend here, all we do is kind of push a good 2 ATRs away from the 21 and revert back to the mean, and over and over and over and over again. And a lot of times this isn't the most enjoyable potential pullback to sit through. If we look at the Qs, there's another good reference here. It's just been the same game of reversion to the mean. So as we start to slowly but surely approach that top Keltner channel, let's at least take into consideration that, hey, maybe the market doesn't just continue to blindly pump higher and higher, and before we continue forward, we get a dip back to the 21. It's definitely possible. So I think in this moment in time where potentially we could be reaching that territory where there's a growing probability we're going to get a dip, lower position sizes. Give your swing trades plenty of time till expiration. I don't think you need to necessarily jump ship and exit your long positions unless they're losing structure, nor do I think trying to short this market is the easiest thing either. But I think at the very least, to make sitting through that potential dip that much easier, scale down in position size, give your swings a few weeks to expiration instead of a few days, and it can be hell of a lot easier to sit through. So with the open positions I have right now, let's get the squeeze up here. And when I go live in the simpler options room, and I'm in there Monday through Friday for a good hour from 10:30 to 11:30, all I'm discussing is the setups that I'm looking to focus on, right? And my focus in my game is just weekly, 3-day, and daily squeezes. So taking a look at my current open positions, I got a handful of put credit spreads in Amazon, as I think this is one of the better looking weekly squeezes in the market. It's also given us a good looking 3-day squeeze, bullish momentum, so that's looking super solid. But as I'm pursuing the weekly squeeze here, it's a big test of patience, where ultimately I'm looking for all the energy getting built up inside this weekly squeeze to fire to the upside. That's not happening quite yet. However, the most important thing here is not getting shaken out of our swing trades until the structure of the setup changes. While I would have much preferred for Amazon to fire its weekly squeeze a month ago, it hasn't lost the structure here, the weekly squeeze. To me, the structure, a lot of that has to do with whether or not we're holding above the 21. So there's been the day-to-day noise on the daily chart, but necessarily not breaking down the weekly squeeze here. Still above the 21, no bearish momentum, stack moving averages. So to me, that's all the reason in the world to keep holding on to that position. So for Amazon, we've got March 19th expiration, and my put credit spreads are so far out the money we can't see them here, which is always a good thing. So I sold the 3000s and bought the 2980s, and then I got another set here where I sold the 3150s, bought the 3130s. So essentially, playing the weekly squeeze here and just placing my bet that over the next few weeks, this weekly squeeze isn't going to fire to the downside where my short strikes on the credit spreads are. So until the structure breaks, I'm a big fan of this Amazon squeeze, and the same thing goes for NVIDIA here. NVIDIA's got a good bullish weekly squeeze, a 3-day squeeze, and a daily squeeze as well. I'm holding my put credit spreads here. I've been making some decent money just basically due to the passage of time, but I'm waiting for the bigger move. I'm waiting for all the energy inside the squeeze to ultimately fire to the upside, and I'm willing to sit through the day-to-day noise and the potentially uncomfortable, ugly days as long as we maintain the structure here. Until the structure changes, you got to practice that patience and hold on tight. So for Amazon and NVIDIA, those have been a good test of patience. And so far, with the put credit spreads, they've been pretty rewarding. Tesla, love Tesla here. We're going into a brand new daily squeeze. So I started to scale in here on Friday to a couple of different put credit spreads. What I like about Tesla is just looking at the natural course of this whole trend here. we go into a daily squeeze and we fire to the upside. We go into a daily squeeze, we do it again, another daily squeeze, fires long, and now here we find ourselves once again in another good-looking daily squeeze. Now, there's no bullish momentum on the histogram just yet, so like I was saying in my Friday session, is I'm gauging my setups here. It's a good squeeze, we're above the 21, stacked moving averages. However, the missing component here is bullish momentum on the histogram. So in the event Tesla doesn't necessarily take off immediately, I'm just going to give the swings plenty of time as I start to scale into what could end up being a pretty good position. So first couple of entries here have been in March 19th expiration put credit spreads, and I'll show you all the strikes here. So I got one set deep out the money where I sold the 750 put and bought the 700, and then I did add selling the 800 and buying the 790. So two different sets of put credit spreads here, looking to ride out here the squeeze. Obviously, if the squeeze begins to fire short, well, then I got to have a discussion, potentially might be wrong here. But as long as we maintain the structure, I'm going to continue to look for smart opportunities to build into the position, ultimately looking for Tesla to give us a repeat of that most previous move. And a couple more here, guys, that we've been focusing on. So this was a big name of discussion, or a big topic of discussion in the Simpler Options room over the last week. So a few weeks ago, I alerted for a couple of put credit spreads inside the daily squeeze. We quickly got paid. As it's pulled back to the 21 EMA here, now John has suggested some trades that are quickly paying off. On Friday, my brother Chandler, during his session, got everybody into this beautiful hourly squeeze. So PLTR has been a fun name here for the group, and what I'm doing is holding my second set of put credit spreads. So I put on two different sets inside the squeeze, closed some of them for profits as the squeeze fired, and now that we've got the reversion back to the mean and we got a beautiful 4-hour squeeze right on top of that 21 EMA, the old launching pad, this does look really good for a potential run into earnings over the next few days. So holding on to PLTR, that's been a rewarding one so far. And then the last one I want to cover with y'all here is BLNK. So Danielle, she's so good at finding, high probability setups, but then focusing on high open short interest to potentially add some fuel to the fire. And of course, shorting, short covering and short squeezes have been a big topic of discussion in the market over the last few weeks with GameStop and all the others there. So for Blink, I already took one trade over the last week or so, building up a position inside the squeeze, quickly taking those profits off the table. And now that we've pulled back to the 21, still have a beautiful structure here, we're continuing to look for a move to the upside. So there's been a couple different trades alerted in the group as to how to attack Blink. Here's how I'm attacking it. March 5th expiration, giving it plenty of time till expiration, and I did a deep out the money put credit spread that still offered about a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. I sold the puts at 40, bought the puts at 35 here, and this is just a perfect example of my strategy in a nutshell. And the strategy I aim to teach every single day, find a high probability setup that already has a good probability of giving you that directional move. And to me, it's just that criteria of a squeeze on a weekly, 3-day, or daily time frame. The stock is holding above the 21, stack moving averages, and at that point we can begin to build a position waiting for a bullish histogram. So for Blink here, I think this setup has a high probability of moving to the upside. So I'm going to place my bet with the put credit spread that it's basically not going to do the complete opposite and fire the squeeze to the downside, dropping under my short strike. So essentially, if Blink, or as long as Blink doesn't do the complete opposite of what we feel it can do here, we're ultimately going to get paid by the put credit spread. So focusing on my squeezes, focusing on my spreads, been rewarding so far this year. Whole bunch of patience required, but still, if you find that good looking setup, you slowly build a position. If you can develop the patience and the discipline to hold on until something changes, when the day comes that squeeze does fire, your patience will be rewarded. So I wish y'all the best of luck this week. Of course, I will keep y'all updated. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram at Focus Trades. You can follow me on Twitter at Focused Options. I'll put the link for both of those in the description of this video. And I cannot suggest enough, y'all check us out in the options room over at simplertrading.com. Enjoy your weekend. Go Buccaneers. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.